And our big story tonight, your vote is more important than ever as we get closer and closer to November's election. And just tonight, Pennsylvania's ballot has been certified, which means we can all start voting. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Johnson.
And I'm Lisa Sylvester. Your ballot won't even be counted until November 3rd. But tonight, all eyes are on the Commonwealth because our state Supreme Court gave the go-ahead for votes to be counted 3 days after the election. And with such a tight race, we might not know which presidential candidate won our state on election night.
And our Michelle Newell just learned what today's decision means for your vote. Her report kicks off our Decision 2020 coverage.
This will be a voting experience like no other. We've seen so many changes over such a short period of time. That's why it's imperative for voters to know how all of this is playing out. The countdown is on. Election day is a little more than 1 month away. The state Supreme Court made some major rulings today. Counties are allowed to count mail-in ballots 3 days after Election Day. Governor Tom Wolf welcomes the decision and believes it will make access to voting better. Sam DeMarco, who is the Republican Allegheny County councilman and is also on the Board of Elections, believes the ruling could lead to potential fraud. He has other concerns, too.
You have so many changes that are taking place here in this election. I mean, last year on November on the general election, Allegheny County residents and residents across the state of Pennsylvania were able to go to bed that night knowing who won the elections there in their county. Here, we have no idea how long this thing is going to take.
And even more changes. You won't see Green Party presidential candidates on the ballot. And the state Supreme Court is allowing counties to set up drop box locations to collect mail-in ballots. After the rulings, Allegheny County Board of Elections voted to set up satellite locations for over-the-counter voting and mail-in locations on several weekends in October leading up to the election.
The second most populous county in what could very well be the state that determines who wins the presidential election in November. We need to make sure that we have, dotted all our I's, crossed all our T's, and made sure that we make it as easy as possible for folks to feel comfortable and safe casting a vote on Election Day.
I'm Michelle Newell for Channel 11 News. David and Lisa.
All right, Michelle, thank you. This is such a big story with a nationwide impact. So we want to bring in our political expert, senior Washington correspondent, Blair Miller right here. Blair, thanks for being here. Is the Supreme Court telling us, Blair, that we are not going to know who will be elected president on election night?
Well, David, I think it makes it likely that the results there won't be conclusive election night. There's a 3-day extension, as you know, and it really will depend on the turnout of the polls and the amount of people who vote by mail. If either one has an overwhelming majority, it could be hard to change in 3 days, but if you believe those polls, this race is still very close, and that 3-day extension could make a difference.
And Blair, speaking of the polling, recent polling by NBC News suggests only 33% of likely voters plan to vote by mail in the 6 battleground states. So, which campaign was going to benefit from this ruling?
Well, David, it's interesting. If you look deeper into that poll, the biggest change is among Democrats, the group most likely to say they expect to vote by mail. In the poll, 57% of swing state Democrats said they plan to cast mail-in ballots, which is down 7 percentage points from the last survey. But the share of Democrats nationally who expect to vote by mail fell by 11 percentage points to 51%. So right now it seems to favor the Democrats, but as you know, David, a lot can still happen between now and the election.
Great insight as always, Blair. Thank you very much.